Okay, so let's see, record this as well. All right. Okay, so for the benefit of those that are just joining us, I said I was going to show you two strategies in the market that we will start incorporating into our trading. We call it the cup of cocoa strategy. But where I got it from, we got it from Gustavo's platform. They use it for their scalping. It's they call it the teacup strategy. It's pretty much the same principle, but the only difference is that when we use it, we go for the full um kill. What do I mean by that? Um, Let me see if I can take that off, take this out of the way. Or drawing. So what do I mean by that? This is it. When we come in, this is what the cup of cocoa strategy looks like. This is the cup. Yep. So you see the body of the cup. You see a handle. A handle forms somewhere here, and then you see the move. It's a very, very sweet strategy because it really moves. When you see it form, it goes really. It's a bullish reversal strategy. If you will, it goes really well into heaven. So this is what you trade. That is your trade. So you enter the strategy at this point, you enter the market at this point, and then you ride it up. Or some people that enter here probably because they have enough leverage to be able to withstand the drawdown, or they have a smaller lot size, so they can take that and then jump and ride it to the top. So this is how we trade it. But what they do, how they trade it is this: they do this, they have this, they are waiting for this to come back to that level where this is, and then they would sell. I notice that they only do the sell part, they don't do the buy part. The buy part would be something like this, you know, and that goes, then they buy. So the idea is to be able to wait for this to happen, this to come back to this entry, this beginning of the cup, and then you sell. And what do you sell? You sell from here to wherever this cup is going to stop. So their rule of thumb is to take only 25 pips out of this market, only 25 pips. But if I'm going to be trading it on the 1 hour, I'm not really looking for 25 pips, because 25 pips may not be promising. None of these patterns promises you. My handwriting is really silly. None of these patterns promises you the accuracy or success every time you trade them. You just have to use your own skill and and beat it. Now, if sometimes it comes as slow, because I've done some analysis, back testing on it, it comes as low as 50, 60 pips on the 1 hour time frame before finally jumping up. No, but if I'm going to be using it 1 hour, I'm only looking for probably 10 to 15 pips just to be on the safe side. I'll probably use the zero 0.5 lot size, 0.2, take 10 to 15 pips, and I'm out of the market. If I do that for 5 trades, it's good for me. So, but what am I looking for? If I'm doing it on the higher time frame, maybe like the H4, because of course it happens in every one of the time frames. On the higher time frames, they are more accurate. You can get more pips out of it. On the H4, I'm looking for, once I'm in, I'm probably looking for maybe 50 pips, 50 to 60 pips. That is if I'm patient enough to allow it to form. And then where would my stop loss be? Normally they say you do 30 pips stop loss. So you do 30 pips above there and probably go for 25 pips. Yeah, but if you're doing it on the higher time frame, it may be a bit more. You might have to do maybe like 40 if you're going for maybe like 60. I know I say that you try to always look for a 1 to 3 or is it a 3 to 1 win, 1 to 3, yeah. meaning that your risk could be 1 and your reward will be 3. Sometimes because it's you're scalping the market, sometimes you may need to allow your risk to be higher because the market may always turn. Somebody posted a message. Let me see. So, oh, is it okay? I don't think I got. Did anybody post a message? I don't think it's here. I think it's somewhere else. Okay. So what was I saying? So yeah, because you are because you're trading scalping, so your risk to reward may be distorted. I'm getting a beep. Your risk to reward may be distorted. You may need to do maybe like a 40 pips risk to maybe get like a 30 pips. But it's a risk that you just have to take. So that means you may not need to. You may have to not over leverage, use lot sizes that will beat into your eat into your accounts if it goes south. But I can tell you, I've tried it for a couple of trades and it works. It works. Now, one thing I noticed when trading, and sure, let me take you back to the trade now, to the charts. Where is my Excel? That one. Yep. So let me see if I can find anyone. Okay, this is a typical example, but this is a failed cup. Now, one thing I want to you to know bear in mind is that cup and handle doesn't mean that it has to have a U shape. It doesn't mean that your cup has to be a U, a perfect U, like I drew here. What you're really looking for is for that drop and for that bullish and that rally. That's all you're looking for. Do you like what specifically, or most importantly, I should say, this handle needs to come back to this handle because that's where you can see a drop. Although I've looked at it in the market, sometimes they don't always complete, which poses problems, which makes it problematic sometimes. So you need to now decide how you want to trade it. Somebody messaged, let me see. Oh yeah, you need to now decide how you want to do it. Do you want to um, look at the wicks alone, or do you want to look at the bodies alone? Because I've seen that it tends to be more accurate when I look at it with the body than the wicks. But you can decide whichever one you want. Sometimes when you're waiting for the wick to come in, for this wick to come back here, maybe you're waiting for that wick to come back to this point. It doesn't. It just turns somewhere around here, and you would have missed that trade. Sometimes you wanted to wait so that the wick can touch, but the wick passes. The body probably goes a few pips upward before dropping. It happens like that. That's why your stop loss should be properly placed, and then it's a risk that you should be willing to take if you're going to be trading it anyway. And it's just a short scalping strategy. So, but I'm going to take you there, and then we can look at it together. Like I said, I'm still back testing it myself. I haven't really used it to trade at all. I haven't used it at trade at all. Some people find the easy ones useful. So look at this, for instance. If I wanted to trade this move, I have to, the two rules that has to apply before this makes sense is that you have to be coming from a red candle. The red candle has to begin that move, and then a green candle or blue candle, whatever you use, would have to end it. But if you look at this wasn't a very fantastic one because it didn't, number one, it didn't come to my wick. If I wanted to use this, it didn't even come to my body, you know, it didn't even get there. So if I wanted to use, let me see this other one. If I wanted to use this one, yeah, this one came. Yeah, this would have been a win because if I had my stop loss somewhere around here, maybe how many pips? Let me see how many pips this would be. I'm on the H4. So yeah, from here, probably 40 pips. If I'm on the each for 40 pips here, this would have been a massive win. I'm looking for 30 or 50 pips. Let me see. Yep, this came down more than how many pips? This was a failed cup and handle, or a failed teacup, a failed cup of cocoa, because normally we want a cup of cocoa to do this, and then, or we can look at it from this side, because this is not coming from the ground. That probably might be a reason why that didn't work out. So all of the things that you have to also put into consideration. What happens when this comes from the ground? Is it more accurate, or does it matter, or if it's coming from somewhere like this? So those are the things that you have to put into consideration. Remember, it's a strategy. You have to test it as many times as possible. You don't need to put them in your real trade, in your real account. Use them in demo, because all we're doing in this industry is developing ourselves, looking for different ways to make our trades better, to make ourselves better, to enter the market and become better at the trades that we're taking. So I've noticed that some of the teacups or the cup of cocoa come from up, but the ones I really like to see are the ones that come from down. Maybe this is happening, and then we have that move, and then we have that drop. Now, if you look at it from another angle, you can call this strategy that break and retest strategy that we like to trade. So the move comes in, drops, and breaks that level, or breaks that level that we are looking at, then comes back and retests it. So that is where we enter. You know what happens when it breaks it and then comes back and retests it. That's where we enter a trade, so that we can write it down. That may be one way to look at it, or just look at it from what it is: teacup, or a cup of cocoa, a rally, um, a retest at that of that rally, then a small handle, and then a rally. So now we're going to look at different options that we have. This was a teacup, but then it was not perfect for our trade. Why? Because this happened, came here, and then went north instead of south like we wanted it to go. Let's see if we can find more. This one, it's another one, but then it didn't really come to my. It didn't come. This didn't come, but this came. See, and how many pips did it drop? See that move to the upside. See that move to the upside. See that drop, and then see that it returns to that place. I wouldn't have entered because this didn't come there. It didn't enter on the wick. It didn't enter on the body. So this would have been a field I wouldn't have. Probably another thing you can do, once you see that move happen, you can set in by a sell limit. Yep, can set in a sell limit. I used it a couple of times. I set sell limits a couple of times. Some of them triggered and some didn't even get there. So you can set in a sell limit. So when it came there, what happened? It triggered you, and what did it do? It had a zero drawdown. And what did you see it do? It first of all, it gave how many pips? About 42 pips. Then it came down and gave how many pips? 136 before completing that um, handle, or that rally. So other ones, let's see if we can find something else. Like I said, remember what I said, it doesn't have to be a perfect U. It doesn't have to be a perfect U. Like this, again, if I wanted to take this, let's say this was, okay, let's say this was my move. So I'm looking at that and I'm looking at this. So I could set one sell limit here. I could set another one here. So if you look at this one triggered with a zero drawdown. And what did I get? It got there and gave me how many? 77 pips. But probably I was looking for just 40 pips or 30 pips. This would have been a massive win. Again, it doesn't have to be a perfect U. It can be something like this. All you're looking for is that move red, and then that um, green or blue. Let me see another one. This happened, but this didn't it didn't really work for me. Why? Because let's assume I started from here, it wouldn't have entered. Or if I started from it wouldn't have entered. If you notice what happened, it didn't come back. It came back at this point though. So if I still waited in the market, it would have still been a massive win for me. This massive, okay, that's me. And then it came in. What happened? That green, just a small drawdown. How much? Mm, 20 pips. And then how much did it give me before it finally jumped? Give me, if I entered at this point, let's say I entered at this point. Okay, 46 pips, you know. So it's just a very good, it's a good scalping strategy to use. Just jump in and jump out. You don't need to stay for too long. It will not win every time. Now let's see this one. This is another one I'm seeing. Yeah, so let's say I start here. I have my sell limits in. So when it came there, what did it do? Just a little bit of drawdown. How many? Maybe 1 or 2 pip. Yeah, 2 pip. Yeah, 2, 3, 4 pip. How many did it come down to? Gave me 62 before finally jumping up. So you begin to see how it works. You know, sometimes they are perfect, sometimes they are not perfect. Like this would have been, I would have thought this would be a win for me. If I entered this, I would have lost this trade. Why? Because it went up massively. This would have been a lost trade. So you can try it on different pairs, try it on different time frames, different sessions to see what really happens. You know, how many wins you have. Then try it on different time frames, the 1, the 4, you know, the D, and see how it goes. Like this, I love this one. This would have been, if I enter, maybe I saw this and I had my, and hindsight is easy to see things, but when you're trading it as it moves, you won't really know what's happening. So if I entered here, drop, a retest, it didn't retest here, so I'm still in the market. It retested here. You know, if I entered at this point, it retested and give that drop. Then if I've entered here, retested and give that drop. If I entered here, did I get a retest? Yes, I did get a retest, but then I had a drawdown of how many pips? Okay, 12, and I'm looking for 40. So yeah, 12 not so bad. And what did it do? All the way from here, massive 65. You know, so I don't know how many of us think this strategy is a good strategy to just try out. Do you think it's something you can try?
Yeah.
It looks. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead, D.
oh, you no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I really at first I was like, because the scalping, the whole idea of scalping and your risk being higher than your reward
Mm,
kind of bothers me.
yeah,
But this strategy, I see as long as it completes the U or the cup shape and comes up to meet
yeah,
the other side,
yeah,
then that's possible.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you were gonna say something, Didi.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna try it too.
Mm,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So again, it doesn't have to be a perfect you, and sometimes it may not happen in the same day. It may not happen in the same hour. Like look at this. This would have taken some days to form. It came back and only gave how many pips? You know, gave only you know 38 pips, 38 pips. But then zero drawdown. You know, my stop loss won't have it won't have even given me any drawdown at all. So I have 10 minutes before this goes off. So probably we're logging in the next 10 minutes again. So yeah, so it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, could be. And again, you because you're setting limit trades and pending orders, into it. So you don't need to really worry about it. Set your pending order, set your stop loss, and then see how it goes. It could start off with micro 0.1s. Like if I did this too, this would have been a win. Okay, maybe I entered it here, would have been a win. Why? Because just about um, 13 or 20 pips draw down, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 19 pips draw down. And then what happened? Came tumbling down. This was a very good coupon handle. What this handle would have been too given too much drawdown, then it jumped to heaven eventually. Yeah. So we can try it. I would try it. I will keep testing different ways, trying different um, directions, different time frames, and different pairs to see what really happens. Now, also, I was going to say something. I would tend to really look when it starts here. What I would do, like this, would be I've seen this now. I don't know if I'll trade something like this because it has a long week. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna trade something like this. But something like this, I may trade something like this, and I would have my entry, my horizontal line to be on the body. So like I was saying that so you might want to try you want to see how it works if you're trying just the body or if you're trying the wick. Now if I was doing it just on the body, see, at least I had one that seemed as if it's gonna come close, but it didn't. But this one came in, and what did it do? Give me my win with zero, no drawdown. How many pips? Yeah, okay, wasn't so great. 16 pips. Yeah, but if he moved 10 pips, I'll probably just move my stop loss into entry anyway. So, but if I took it from here, if I wanted to take it from here, what happened? This didn't take it, but this came in and took it. But then let me see how many draw down. Okay, maybe 20. But how much would I have won for that trade? Not too much. Yeah, rubbish. Just 11, and it probably have hit my stop loss. Or yeah, if my stop loss was 40, I probably would have hit it because it's 39. Then it dropped eventually. So yeah, it's not you won't win every trade, but it's a very good strategy to just try out when you're not really in the mood to do a lot of analysis and chase the market. Just put it in pending order and see how it goes. So yep, that's one of it. That's one of it. The next thing I wanted to show us is let me see. Hopefully. Uh, okay, so where is it? Trading view. Yep. Okay, let me show you my screen. I think I'm sharing my screen. This is gonna go off. So what I'm gonna do, instead of me letting it go off, why don't I just log off, then bring us back in?
Okay, sounds good.
I think it's a
Okay.
better idea because if I let it go off now, it's gonna be off in the next. Okay, it's gonna be off in the next 5 minutes. Can we still stay 5 minutes before it goes off? I
Okay.
think we can. Okay, let's stay 5 minutes, and then when it goes off, we'll do it again. Okay, can you see my screen though?
Yes,
Yes.
Trading,
I see the
trading.
charts.
Okay, so trading view. Can you see my trading view?
Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Good. Now, there's a new strategy that I learned. My screen is really. I have too many things open.
You sure do. Oh my goodness.
I have a weakness for tabs. I don't close tabs. Uh, Okay, so for this trade, when we're looking at, for instance, we're looking at Euro USD, GBP USD, USD CAD. Now, another thing we can do to help us is to adapt fundamentally into trading, apart from just using news. This is another thing that I just learned that we can add into our strategy. Now, this is all about looking for the percentages in the movement. If I look at DXY, for instance, I'm looking for USD CAD, for instance. Now, you know what all the numbers, I mean, all the what's it called now? The what's the word again now? The short forms for those currencies, like the dollar is DXY, the Canadian dollar is CXY, the Japanese dollar is Japanese yen, sorry.
Abbreviation.
Yeah, abbreviation, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Okay,
Mike is
gotcha.
sleepy. Mike's sleepy.
Tired. The Japanese yen is GXY and the rest of them like that. So if I'm trading the USD card, for instance, this is USD dollar, And then I'm gonna probably gonna let me open another one. Trading view. Yeah, see why I have too many too many tabs open. I just keep opening. I don't close anything. So if I'm looking at USD card, for instance, now I go here, look for currency for the card. It's, thank you. It's CXY, I presume. CXY. Yeah, that's it. Now, what am I looking for? I'm looking for movement. I'm looking for the percentages in terms of how much one is moving in relation to the other one. For instance, if you mouse over here, you can see DXY 89.77, and you can see positive 0.01%, right? Can you see that, what I'm showing?
No, wait, I don't see that. Show me where you're at, your mouse. Oh, okay, I see it. I'm sorry, I see it.
You see that that's tooltip. They call it tooltip. You see, it's going up plus 0.01%, right?
Right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Then this one as well. The Canadian dollar is going up plus minus. It's going down minus 0.2%. Yeah, can see that, right?
Yep. Yep, I can see it.
Now the trick is to look for. Let me see. I really use. Now the trick is to look for um the trick is to look for the pairs have to be at least 10%. You know, at least 10%. Hold on, let me increase the font size. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. The what's happening? Why is it not big enough? Okay. Okay, I can't get what I'm. Well, can you see my screen though?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have to be at least 10%, either positive or negative, to be able to say that it's a valid move. For instance, this is minus 0.01. That is not a valid move. Why? Because the market is closed. This is minus 0.2. It's not valid because the market is closed. You're really looking for movements, a movement up to percentage of 10 for you to say, okay, that's a valid movement. Now, if for instance USD index has minus 20%, okay, let me say plus 20%, and your card USD or DXY, this has plus 20%, and your CXY has minus 10%. This means that this is a plus 10. Let me put this as plus so I don't confuse you. So this is plus 20%, this is plus 10%. This means that we are buying this market because the dollar is stronger, or the dollar is positive, is definitely going up, and the pound is negative. Sorry, the yen is negative. Sorry, the Canadian dollar